It is 1 p.m. We will convene the called meeting of the Del Mar College Board of Regents to order at 1 p.m. on Tuesday, the 23rd. This meeting is for the purpose of adoption of a number of items related to our annual budget. At this point in time, is there anyone for general public comment for items not on the agenda? Seeing none, we will move forward. I'm going to ask Dr. Escamilla, would you like to make some opening comments as we get started, and then we'll bring Ms. Tammy McDonald up for the first action item.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I would just really like to focus these comments on thanks and gratitude to the staff for bringing us to this point. The amount of work that goes in is not overlooked. It's appreciated and observed on a day-to-day basis by myself, and I just want everyone who, from the business office, throughout the entire college, who has come together to put together today's culminating presentation in the way of our budget for the work that they've done. Mr. Garcia, thank you. John, Kathy, Jackie, everybody for doing all that they've done. It's no small matter, and we have not overlooked it by any means. We were most grateful. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Absolutely. Ms. McDonald, would you come forward and do the presentation on our first action item, which will be discussion and possible action to approve the administration's recommendation for a one-time employee payment and funding source?
Yes, Chair, thank you. In the August 9th Board of Regents regular board meeting, the board requested that the staff bring information for consideration for a one-time payment to employees and to recommend a funding source for this expense. The presentation today addresses this request. This recommendation will impact the current budget, the FY 21-22 budget, and it is not part of the FY 23 budget that we previously have reviewed. I have been informally kind of calling this proposed one-time employee payment an inflation relief payment. So that's my informal word. We can call it whatever you would like as we move forward. But we wanted to call it inflation relief, or my version of call it inflation relief, because we wanted to be more inclusive and not exclusive, because everyone has been impacted by inflation. So our proposed one-time employee payment consists of all full-time employees employed on the day of the payment distribution, that they will receive a one-time payment through payroll of $1,000 gross. That means there'll be $1,000, and then the applicable employee taxes will be deducted after that. Then all part-time employees that are active on the day of the payment distribution receive a payment through payroll of $500 gross. Again, this is before the applicable employee payroll taxes are deducted. So what I did is I took a snapshot on August the 15th with everyone that met this criteria. So this is what, if on the 15th we did a payment, this is what the financial expense would be. So on that day we had 746 full-time employees times 1,000. I did applicable payroll, the employer taxes, because we do have to pay our Social Security tax. The employer has to pay their share of Social Security tax, which is 7.65%, and then we $1,144,550. We would propose that the payment date be between mid to late October. This is the date I proposed because September is a little hectic in the payroll department, because we're trying to close out the current year that we're in and then start the new year with all the raises they have to input, and pay sheets go out to all the full-time employees. They have to generate those. So mid-October was kind of a good time to get this started, if that's at your pleasure. On this particular, the proposed one-time employee payment funding source recommendation, and we do have the business office representatives here if you have any questions. So as allowed under DMC policy B4.1.1, financial reserve, section A, administration is recommending the Board of Regents approve the use of the FY 22 budget, our current budget, then in the contingency line item of $1,663,863 to fund this expense. So we're here for any questions.
This is probably a question for Mr. Garcia. So since we would we're now dedicating that money, if we make this decision out of the FY22 budget, you would just accrue that until we actually expend that in October, right? Assuming
Yes.
that correctly?
That is correct, yes. But now that I'm up here, I also want to thank you, Madam Chair, Mr. President, members of the board, and the Compensation Committee for a very robust conversation around employee compensation during a period of time of heightened level of uncertainty caused by the pandemic. The feedback has helped the college stay on task with identifying the funding for employee compensation in support of our strategic initiatives for recruiting and retaining exceptional faculty and staff. So after careful reviewing the funding options, as Ms. Tammy McDonald has mentioned, we're recommending a multi-year funding solution. We earlier talked about the budget piece, and now the one-time payment that Ms. McDonald just described. And yes, quick accrual, very easy accounting function.
Thank you. Are there other questions from the board on this proposal from staff? Seeing none, is there a motion to adopt the recommendation from the administration for a one-time payment to employees and use of the funding source as discussed and agreed upon? Motion is made by Dr. Adami, second by Ms. Hutchison. Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion as presented, please raise your hand. Any opposed, same sign. That motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. McDonald. Second item on our agenda is discussion and possible action related to the order for the Board of Regents on our maintenance and operations budget for 2022-2023 and the 2022 and 23 debt service budget as well. Mr. Garcia.
Yes, so Madam Chair, as we presented the budget proposal for the fiscal year 2023 for the M&O as well as the debt service budget. And so I wanted to let you know that the college has complied with all the state statute requirements in terms of advertising, putting the information out for public review, and also having having a public hearing this morning. If there's any questions, I will get definitely ready to respond accordingly. Otherwise, we have an action item for your consideration.
Thank you. Mr. Rivera, the order is what we're actually adopting. There is a resolution that is an order of the Board of Regents to adopt the budgets for 2022 and 2023.
That's correct.
Do you need to read that into the record?
You traditionally do, Madam Chair, so I would do so at this time.
Feel free to.
Yeah. So, Regents, you have in your packets the proposed order of the Del Mar College District regarding the budgets for 2022-2023, and they read as follows. Be it ordered by the Board of Regents of the Del Mar College District that whereas budgets for the Del Mar College District have been prepared and submitted to the Board of Regents of the District in the manner required by law, and whereas a meeting has been called and held as a public hearing for the purpose of considering the adoption of a maintenance and operation budget and debt service budget after public notice of such meeting is required by law, and whereas all taxpayers and other persons of the district desiring to do so have been given the opportunity to be present and to participate in such hearing, therefore that certain budgets presented to the board at this meeting and filed among the official documents of this district be, and it is hereby adopted as the budgets for the Del Mar College District for the fiscal year beginning September 1, 2022 and ending August 31, 2023. There's the usual and customary place to record the record vote and then the signature lines for the appropriate signatures.
Any questions or comments from the board? Is there a motion to adopt the order as presented? Thank you, Ms. Averett. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Garza. Is there any public comment on this item, the adoption of the order to approve our budgets for 2022-23? Seeing none, can we do a roll call vote, Ms. Pettis?
Dr. Adame?
Yes.
Ms. Averett? Yes. Mr. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Garza?
Yes.
Ms. Hutchinson? Yes. Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Scott?
Yes.
Dr. Villarreal?
Yes. That motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Regents. Moving on to the order related to our tax rates for 2022-23. Mr. Garcia?
Yes, thank you. Madam Chair, members of the board, just want to let you know that the college has complied with all the state statute requirements as it relates to the public hearing and putting this information out to the public for their assessment, as well as having a public hearing this morning. With that said, before you is an action item for the two related action items, actually. The first one relates to agenda item number 3 is for the approval of the proposed increase to the total tax revenues from properties on the tax roll in the preceding year by 5.79% for a combined tax rate of 0.266104. The second item relates to board agenda item number 4 is for the approval of the proposed M&O and debt service tax levy rates of 0.196870 and 0.069234 respectively, with a combined total of 0.266104.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Mr. Garcia? Mr. Rivera, would you please read the order as presented in our packet?
Yes, Madam Chair. Again, Regents, this is the order that was published with the board packet and has been posted on our website in accordance with Texas law. It has to do with the tax rate for 2022, and it reads as follows. Be it ordered by the Board of Regents of the Del Mar College District that whereas the board has duly and properly considered a proposal to increase total tax revenues from properties in the tax roll in 2022 by 5.79%, and whereas the board has duly and properly called and held the public hearing required by the Texas Property Tax Code after giving the public notice required by the code and by law, and whereas all taxpayers and other persons desiring to do so have been given the opportunity to be present and to participate in such hearing, and whereas the board is duly and properly given and published notice of these meetings as required by law, now therefore the board hereby approves and adopts the proposal to increase total tax revenues from properties in the tax roll in the preceding year by 5.79%, thereby increasing the total combined tax rate to be levied for 2022 to 26 and 6,104 over 10,000, or 0.266104 cents on each $100 property valuation in the district. This tax rate will raise more taxes for maintenance and operations than last year's tax rate. The tax rate will effectively be raised by 7.94% and will raise taxes for maintenance and operations on a $100,000 home by approximately negative $8.43. Is that correct, Ms. Landrum? Negative $8.43. Madam Chair, you've got the customary record to denote the record vote, as well as your signatures. That's the order.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rivera. Is there any public comment? Excuse me, let's have a motion first to adopt our tax rate as presented. Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Hutchison. Any questions on the motion? Is there any public comment on this motion to adopt our tax rate as presented? Seeing none, we'll do a roll call vote, please, Ms. Pettis.
Dr. Villarreal,
Yes.
Ms. Scott,
Yes.
Mr. Kelly,
Yes.
Ms. Hutchinson, Mr. Garza,
Yes.
Mr. Bennett,
Yes.
Ms. Avery,
Yes.
Dr. Adame.
Yes.
That motion passes unanimously. Thank you. And our next item is similar, but just a little bit different. It's a different, there's some specifics related to our tax levy. So Mr. Garcia will introduce that, and then Mr. Rivera will read the order for us.
Yes, thank you. Before I get started, I want to thank you, Madam Chair, Mr. President, members of the board, for your continuous support for the college. Much appreciated. Thank you. Moving on to the property tax exemption. The college is asking for the board's consideration for an action item for the approval of the property tax exemptions listed on this slide.
Mr. Garcia, I
Oops.
think number 4 is related to the tax levy,
I'm
which is a little bit different than number 3.
I'm getting ahead of myself, yes.
You got ahead of yourself.
Yes. So, just to notify the board that the college has complied in all the state requirements as it relates to public hearings, the presentation, and what have you. And so, this action item is for the approval of both the M&O and the debt service tax rate.
Thank you. Mr. Rivera, would you please read the order?
Yes, Madam Chair. This is the order pertaining to the tax levy for 2022 of the Del Mar College District. Be it ordered by the Board of Regents of the Del Mar College District that the following taxes are hereby levied for the year 2022 on all property, real, personal, and mixed, located within the boundaries of the Del Mar College District and subject to taxation by it for the year 2022 under the laws of the state and of the United States. A total ad valorem tax of $26 and $6,104 over $10,000 or 0.2666104 cents on each $100 property valuation in the district for the purposes and in the specific amounts which follows. Number one, an ad valorem tax of $19 and $6,870 over $10,000 or 0.196870 cents on each $100 property valuation for the local maintenance fund of the Del Mar College District. And number two, an ad valorem tax of $6 and $9,234 over $10,000 or 0.069234 cents on each $100 property valuation for the interest and sinking fund of the Del Mar College District Limited Tax Refunding Bonds, Series 2013, Del Mar College District Limited Tax Refunding Bonds, Series 2014, Del Mar College District Limited Tax Refunding Bonds, Series 2015, Del Mar College District Limited Tax Bonds, Series 2016, Del Mar District Tax Bonds, Series 2017, Del Mar College District Limited Tax Bonds Series 2018A, Del Mar College District Limited Tax Bonds Series 2018B, Del Mar College District Limited Tax Bonds Series 2020A, Del Mar College District Limited Tax Bonds Series 2020B, and Del Mar District Limited Tax Refunding Bonds Series 2021. Madam Chair, is this a section to note the record vote as well as your necessary signatures.
Thank you, Mr. Rivera. Any questions regarding the order to establish our 2022-23 tax levy? Seeing none, is there a motion to adopt the order as presented? Motion by Mr. Garza. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dr. Villarreal. Any questions on the motion? Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, we will do a hand vote on this. All those in favor of adoption of the order as presented, please raise your hand. Any opposed, same sign. That motion carries unanimously. And our last item on our regular agenda for action is discussion and action related to the resolution for the 2022-2023 tax exemptions.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so the college is now asking for the board's consideration of an action item for the approval of the property tax exemption listed on this slide. Here are a few tidbits about the exemptions from the lens view of the property owner. The qualified charitable organization provides a tax exemption if the property is used for religious, charitable, scientific, literary, or educational purpose. The qualified disabled veterans provides a tax exemption ranging from $5,000 to $12,000 for a disabled veteran homeowner. The homestead exemption provides a tax exemption valued at $5,000 on a person's residence homestead. In accordance with the state property tax code, the college can elect to provide additional tax exemptions above the homestead exemption. Accordingly, the college is proposing an additional exemption to a person of 65 years of age or older, or a person who is under the age of 65 who qualifies for disability insurance benefits. The value of this exemption is $50,000. For more information about property tax exemptions, please contact your respective county appraisal office to determine how you may qualify for an exemption. As a final note, this action item is consistent with prior year's request. The college is now seeking your approval for this action item.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Mr. Rivera, would you read the order as presented?
Be happy to, Madam Chair. The last item, Regents, is the resolution of the board regarding tax exemptions, and it reads as follows. Resolved that for the tax year 2022, all persons who qualify by law are granted an exemption in the amount of $5,000 of the appraised value of their homestead property, and resolved further that for the tax year 2022, persons of the age of 65 or older are granted an additional exemption in the amount of $50,000 of the appraised value of their homestead property, and qualified disabled veterans are granted this statutory exemption. And resolve further that for the tax year 2022, each person under 65 years of age who is qualified for the payment of disability insurance benefits as defined under federal old age survivors and disability insurance or its successors hereby granted an additional exemption from taxation in accordance with Section 11.13D of the Property Tax Code, the total amount of which is equal to $50,000 of the appraised value of such person's residence homestead property as that term is defined by the state constitution and law, provided the owner of such residence homestead property or his or her duly authorized agent or attorney applies at the office of the Nueces County Tax Appraisal District for said exemption in accord with the requirements established by the tax assessor collector or the Nueces County Tax Appraisal District as permitted by law, and resolve further that for the tax year 2022, each disabled veteran is entitled to the mandatory exemption provided in Section 11.22 of the Code, and resolve further that for the tax year 2022, each qualified charitable organization that has been granted exemption by the City of Corpus Christi is entitled to the tax exemption provided under Section 11.184 of the Texas Tax Code. That concludes the resolution. There's a section to note the record vote as well as your signatures, Madam Chair.
Any questions for Mr. Garcia or Mr. Rivera on the order? Is there a motion to adopt the order as presented? Mr. Kelly makes the motion. Is there a second? Second. Second by Ms. Avert. Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, we'll do a hand vote. All those in favor of adoption of the resolution for tax exemptions, please raise your hand. Mr. Bennett, is your hand raised? There we go, I see it. Any opposed, same sign. That motion carries unanimously. As we close this section of the agenda before we go into closed session, I do want to thank Dr. Escamilla and Mr. Garcia, Ms. McDonald, all the folks who were involved in the budget discussions this year. The board over the last several meetings has expressed a great deal of concern about inflation and how that was affecting our employees and staff. And so we appreciate working with us to make sure that we could provide some accommodations in some way to provide some relief for our employees and our faculty and staff who work so hard and have been doing just tremendous work over the past couple of years during the pandemic. You do hard work, wonderful work any given year, but the past couple of years have been particularly difficult. And so given where we are, the opportunity to do something in this regard, we really appreciate you working with us. And I think I speak on behalf of the board that this is an important, but just a token of a way that we can express our appreciation for our faculty and staff for the work that you do year-round. So thank you all very much for working with us, and thank you very much to Mr. Garcia and his staff for really just, I think, a pretty robust budget conversation this year. Any other comments from board members before we go into closed session? If not, we are moving into closed session under Texas Government Code 551.071 regarding the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, including the annual evaluation of the college president, the president's contract with possible discussion and action in open session, and under Texas Government Code 551.071 regarding pending or contemplated litigation or a settlement offer, and the seeking of legal advice from counsel with possible discussion and action in open session. The time is 1:23 p.m. Thank you. We have come back from closed session at 2:22 p.m. Dr. Villarreal has a motion.
Thank you. In order to clarify one of the amendments to the President's employment contract approved by the Board at the August 9th, 2022 meeting, I move that we amend Item 8 on the contract to specify the amount stated therein is net of taxes with reimbursement to be made as submitted, and further direct General Counsel to formalize the amendments in writing for signature by the parties.
Thank you very much, Dr. Villarreal. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Ms. Averett. Are there any questions about the motion? If not, then we'll do a hand vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed, same sign. That motion carries unanimously. Ladies and gentlemen, I think what calendar, I'm sorry.
No public comment.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Was there any public comment on that item? There was no public present to provide comment, so thank you very much. I apologize, Mr. General Counsel. Thank you for calling that to our attention. The calendar was provided to us. Our next regular meeting will be on September 13th. And then October, our regular board meeting date is October 11th. For those traveling to the ACCT conference, that is October 26th through the 29th. We have our board day on November 8th, which is the same day as Election Day for those who are keeping track. And then we've got some adjustments, we think, to our election calendar. We'll clarify that if we do need to have a vote to canvass. We know we'll have to canvass the elections, still on the 18th, and then our Thanksgiving holiday. Call to your attention the Coordinating Board Leadership Conference in Austin on December 7th and 8th, and our regular board meeting day on December 13th. At this point in time, we do not plan to have a January board meeting, so that's our calendar for the next couple of months as presented. With nothing further on the agenda today, we will adjourn at 2:24 p.m. Thank you all.